Not my parent but a grandparent. When I was around 10 years old, my grandmother went out and got us, her, my brother, and me, McDonald's. We got home and we didn't have napkins in the bags. No big deal, right? We have paper towels and napkins in the house. Also, me and my brother are pretty good with not making any messes while we eat. Nope. Grandmother got us in the car, drove back to McDonald's, demanded a manager, and screeched about how upset she was that we didn't get any napkins. I wanted to just melt into the floor and disappear. It's just napkins, nanny. When I was a young child on a long distance flight, my mother let me and my brother sleep on the floor. For safety reasons, the flight attendants told my mother that we were not allowed to sleep on the floor. She started to argue with the flight attendants, who then turned to the pilots. The pilots threatened to turn the plane around unless we get up from the floor, but she continued to argue. The pilots announced they were about to turn around because of my mother, so all the passengers got pissed. Eventually she caved in when she had all passengers and flight crew on a Boeing 747 against her. Ugh. My dad. He can be such a prick if you get his order wrong. It could be fast food or a nice sit-down restaurant. He often yells at wait staff if they undercook his steak. It has to be well done or he claims to have lost his appetite. One time we went to Burger King when I was younger and we sat down to eat. He took one bite of his burger, spit it out and immediately started bitching about it being undercooked. He cut in front of everyone in line to yell at the cashier. Then he asked who was the cook. When the cook appeared, he launched his burger, hitting the poor kid directly in the face with a lidless burger. He's now banned for life from Burger King. I worked at Best Buy. I stopped in with my mom one day because she wanted to buy me the Star Wars DVD box set for my birthday. I had a huge crush on the girl that was working the customer service counter. Well, the DVD set rang up $10 more than it was priced, and my mom deliberately didn't say anything until after the transaction so she could claim the effing $5 Michigan scan law bounty. My crush didn't know how to process it and the manager was busy, so my mom tore into her about how it was her job and how she should understand how to do things at my job to a girl I liked. My life was misery for a while afterward. I might be late, but my dad once asked the guy at the Verizon wireless store to give him his own social security number because he asked for my dad's. My dad walked out afterwards with some stranger's SS number on a post-it. I was a silent bystander because I really wanted my first phone. About once a month my dad gets drunk and calls various customer service centers demanding stuff. Once he finally gets off the phone, frequently 45+ minutes later, he spends the next few days telling us all about how he slew the customer service dragon and boy, people sure don't appreciate their customers nowadays, blah blah blah. No duh, dad. You're being an asshole. No one appreciates that. If you've worked for DirecTV customer service anytime since 1996, I apologize on behalf of my dad. Edit another story for y'all. I also remembered one time MCD's was having some kind of 2-for-1 breakfast sandwich deal going on where the total was about $3. He gets his breakfast, drives 25 minutes to work, realizes he's missing one of the sandwiches, and proceeds to call MCD's customer support every evening after work for a week to complain about his wasted $1.50. They gave him apologies. They gave him coupons, but he just wanted to yell. The number of cashiers my father demanded the manager fire because they were too slow, rang us up wrong, etc., including one they actually did. I'll never forget that girl taking her Home Depot apron off and walking away sobbing. To his credit, I guess, my dad seemed surprised that it actually worked, must have felt at least some level of guilt and never did it again. Not a child, but I think this fits. I had this awful annoying as F terrible neighbor who, because I'm a giant sucker, I was kind too. She asked me to come with her to dinner because it was her birthday, and I knew I was the only person on the planet who would go with her, and gosh darn it, it's her birthday. How could I say no? So she and I went and we brought our kids, all girls, one mine, two hers. She makes her oldest do her math homework right there at the table. When the child asks her for help, mind you this is like 3rd grade math, the mom says it's too hard. I end up helping. The waiter is just fine. He comes by and takes our orders. She is already acting weird, but she always acted weird, so I didn't think much of it. Waiter comes by again and asks if we need anything. She dismisses him and waves him off and tells him no. Then like 30 seconds later turns to me and is like, "Can you believe how awful the waiter is? He won't even refill my drink," and just goes on about all these issues that literally don't exist. I'm like, "He just asked if you needed anything." She cuts me off. "I'm going to talk to the manager." Oh god. She talks to the manager like this is the worst experience she's ever had in the history of her miserable existence. I'm in shock. Her kids have their heads down. Mine is oblivious, laughing out loud. The manager gives her like half of the meal. Oh, and the kicker? That's my half, so you only need to pay the rest. Oh gee, thanks. I left a big tip and a note on my receipt telling them the waiter was great and apologizing for the complaints that were totally not warranted. It was the second most embarrassing restaurant experience of my life. My mom needed to return some shirts at the mall because they didn't fit right. It was past the allotted time that she had to return them, so the employee said that there wasn't anything she could do. My mom started screaming at this girl who was probably about 16 or 17, calling her names and demanding to speak to the manager. When the manager told my mom that they couldn't do anything and that the return policy was on the receipt, my mom threw a fit and knocked over a display that was next to the register and stormed out of the store. I was probably 6 or 7 at the time and I was mortified. I apologized for her behavior and picked up what I could before she started calling for me to follow her. The manager was super sweet to me though and told me that I was a good kid and to stick up to my mom when I could get away with it. My mom once called Domino's regional corporate office or some shit because a pizza I ordered for her, that I paid for, was too expensive. She did get 4 free pizza vouchers out of it, but I'm so glad I was not around for the embarrassment of it all. We traveled a lot when we were younger and would skip lines at the airport since we were kids. But now we were all in our early teens and my mom faked having a heart condition to skip the long line to get on the airplane. Flight attendant would have none of it and told us to go back to the end of the line. I still remember the smiles and looks of everyone there. I remember when I was like 6, my whole family, all 6 of us, went to the dollar store. I don't remember much, but I remember when we were in the car about to go home, my mom was looking at the receipt and she noticed that the cashier gave them $1 less in change than they were supposed to. My mom was furious and made us all go back inside. She started yelling at the teenage girl cashier about how they're bad people and this is wrong etc etc. Then the girl said something like "okay geez" and then rolled her eyes while giving back the correct change. This made my mom flip. She started screaming at the top of her lungs about how they're evil and how she needs to fix her attitude and stuff like that. Another one was when we recently had a fire in our house. A bunch of ash and fire extinguisher stuff got all over the house and we got a cleaning company to clean the house. It was like 2 dudes and 2 girls. I don't know what exactly triggered my mom, but apparently she didn't like the way they were cleaning. She started yelling at them and lecturing them that they should know how to clean, especially the girls because they're female. She then showed them how to do it whole, continuing to yell at them. A lot of the bad outbursts were the same way she treated us when she got mad. She's got a lot calmer since then though. Oh god, I have so many. My personal favorite is the Dairy Queen drive-thru incident. My mom thought she was being overcharged 12 cents and freaked out at the poor Dairy Queen drive-thru dude. He was probably in high school and here's my adult mom screaming at him for overcharging her like 12 cents. Some of her exact words were, "Are you on crack? What the f*** is wrong with you? I can't believe this is happening right now. You're wasting my time," etc etc. The usual flip out. Also, she mentioned her work. She loves bringing up that she works at a certain big business, as if that gives her more authority to be a bitch to people. But the Dairy Queen incident was special, because just before going to get ice cream, my best friend and I had spent some quarters on giant fuzzy mustache stickers. So there we are in the backseat, rubbing our giant fake mustaches and staring at this kid getting screamed at by my mom. Dairy Queen dude was holding in laughter the entire time. I hope our mustaches made the raging mom incident less terrifying for him. Oh, and she did demand the manager, who just shrugged her off and didn't care. I wonder how much spit and food we have ate because of her. Probably the time my mum threw a plate of spaghetti at a waitress because she didn't know if it had dairy in it or not. Apparently that was good reason to throw spaghetti at someone. Please subscribe, comment and like. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Subscribe. Should I repeat? No? Well, I'll repeat anyways. Subscribe.